How far are you willing to go? The drive, the sweat, the blood, the tears, your determination through the pain and all the suffering, people overlooking you, telling you that you're not good enough. You have to believe that you're great. And with you believing that you're great, anything you want to do, you can achieve. No one can stop you. Only you can stop yourself. Keep driving. Keep uplifting yourself. Keep going. Keep going. Nothing, and no one can stop you. That goal you want, you can achieve it. How you inspire people is going to be up to you. Keep going. Never give up. Never give up. Keep going. Never give.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy IkonE. And we here on 910 Sports TV once again. First and foremost, I want to thank God for this opportunity to be on this great platform, to be able to do great things. And, so I got to introduce everything. I'm going to start from the bottom and slide on over. So I'm going to go with the baby mama's favorite host, Cowboys' biggest fan. You know what I'm saying? Jacob the Great. What's going on, brother?
Man, another day, the trust, right back with man.
Okay. You breaking up just a little bit, just a little bit. What's going on? And so I got the Coach Goins out there in doggone the VA area right now. He in a what they call an undisclosed location. So I'm gonna
Yes,
say he in an
sir.
undisclosed location right now. So what's going on, Coach Goins? How you doing?
Hey, man, we just glad to be here and always ready to chop it up and just looking forward to a great show, man. So it's always our pleasure.
Okay. So Jacob, I'm gonna let you introduce this young man or whatever, this OG young man, whatever, to the show, and then we just go ahead and get things going.
Man, we have none other than the great Darryl Page, man. Head football coach, educator, youth mentor, friend to many, and and just an all around great guy, man. Welcome to the show, Mr. Page.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. Great to be asked to be on this forum, and this is my first time, but hopefully it won't be my last.
Amen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we'll get right into it now. You have been a football coach and a educator, a school teacher for around 39 years, correct?
Yes, sir. Just finished my 39th year here in South Carolina. We've been out of school right about 3 weeks.
Man. So with all the kids that you teach and the athletes that you coach, you already coach their dads, some of their first cousins, some of their uncles, so on and so forth.
Oh, no question. I've been, and I consider it a pleasure. I've coached kids that I've coached their fathers, or I've had their mothers in my classroom. So I was fortunate. I stayed been at Wilson High School here in Florence, South Carolina. Done over 20 years at this high school. So I've seen a lot of people come and go. Had a lot of great experiences, and you've been in a while when you start coaching the sons of the guys you coach, and
Right.
being able to have that kind of influence or that kind of impact within one family is great. But over the years, so many kids, so many experiences. And I was listening to something Deion Sanders was saying today on social media, saying it's all about relationships, and that's what it is, all about building relationships.
It is, man. So it's so interesting, that you've been a football coach for this long and just coaching in general and teaching kids. And so what has been the biggest rewards for you?
Seeing young people that you might have worked with when they were 14, 15, 16 years old, and you try to impart wisdom. A lot of times people don't, hate to say it, but it's the truth. A lot of times parents want to shield their kids from so much. especially African American kids, because we as a race of people have really we prospered, and we don't want our children to go through some of the things that we had to go through. But life is hard out there. Once you step out of your mom and your dad's house, life is hard, and the world is not your mom and your dad. So you have to try to give kids truths, realities, things they're gonna have to deal with, and how they deal with them. And that's always been my thing. I'd rather you might not like what I say, but I'm tell you the truth, and then you don't have to worry about wondering what you say, as long as you know it's the truth. And trying to expose kids to that, especially kids that look like us, because the world they're going into is not set for them to be successful. So that's been my biggest thing, to see these kids go off, and whether it's in athletics. I've been fortunate. I've coached two guys that have been in the NFL, one that had a long career in the CFL, a number of guys that have gone off to college and used athletics to better their own lives. But I'm also just as proud of those. I went to go get a haircut earlier today. My barber was one of the kids that were on one of my first teams. He got a successful barbershop here in Florence, and just seeing those type situations, that's been my greatest reward. Hopefully, I made a difference in somebody's life.
It sounds like you made a difference in a lot of different lives, and just for you, in your adolescent years coming up, when did you fall in love with the game of football?
I think probably the first time I saw it, probably about and understood what was going on, probably about 6 or 7. I remember looking at football as early as maybe 1971. I was born in '63, and understanding the game. The first Super Bowl I remember paying attention to was Super Bowl V between the Colts and the Cowboys, and that was played in Miami in like 1972. And that's when I could really understand the game and knowing what was going on. And I've always had a passion for it. I played it coming up through school. I was fortunate and was blessed to receive a football scholarship to attend Winston-Salem State University, where I played under legendary coach Bill Hayes.
Mm.
Played for Coach Hayes, and I learned so much more than football from him. And my original plan was not to actually get into athletics. I got an undergraduate degree in English education. I was going to law school, and wasn't quite sure what kind of what kind of law I wanted to concentrate on. But I also got a teaching certificate, teaching degree, and being a kid of a former educator, my mom taught school for 37 years. I was just home during the summer, have a summer job, that kind of thing. And she was like, well, while you're waiting on law school, you might as well apply to teach. And once I started teaching and coaching, I kind of fell in love with it. And I remember getting that acceptance to law school probably in October of that year, thinking I was going the next semester, but I never followed up on law school. And education has been the thing for the last 39 years.
So,
Wow.
so you've been what we call a football fan since the John Unitas and the Dick Buckers and all those type days.
Oh man, Willie Lanier, Kansas City Chiefs. You think about the Chiefs were one of the first teams that had a lot of brothers on it. So
Hmm.
I'm not just a football fan, a football historian, man. I mean, the game has been good to me. It's provided a living for me and my family, and I love it. Even right now, being a retired coach, I still watch at least 2-3 hours of film every day, utilizing YouTube.
Okay. That's what's up. Interesting. All right, Coach Goins.
Well, first of all, Coach Page, I just want to say thank you for every life that you've touched. Thank you for every practice, every time you blew the whistle, because it's very obvious you had vision, and it wasn't about just what was happening in between the lines. It was, you were affecting lives after the whistle stopped. So again, thank you so much, and just paying homage and giving honor where honor is due. So I know you made Jacob's Day when you were talking about the Cowboys. Of course, I'm not a Cowboys, and it's just very interesting that you played for the legendary Coach Bill Hayes. Now, if you had the opportunity to sit there, if Coach Bill Hayes was on this show tonight, what would you tell him, or what
Thank
would you
you.
what? Thank you.
Thank you, first of all, for not just teaching football, but teaching life. Coach Hayes was unique in that way. He called it tough love. And not realizing a small country boy from a small town in South Carolina, not knowing that he needed that at that particular time. And from Coach Hayes, I learned to be not just a teacher, but a coach, a mentor, a friend. Um, you know, everything from getting on your head to bending my knees and praying with you. And that's something I never shied away from, even in the classroom or even on the field. Before we start practice, we're going to pray. Before we leave that field, we're going to pray. And, society tells you, oh, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to do that. And we never forced a kid to do that. But I know if you put God first, everything else gonna fall in. It's gonna fall the way he wants it to fall. And being able to expose kids to that, that's just as important. It's probably your most important job as an educator, as a teacher, as a coach. You know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And again, I just respect that. And again, I wouldn't be where I would am today if it wasn't have the coaches in my life. So here you go. I gotta. You talked about it, so I gotta put you on the spot. If you had to pick the best defense in the history of, and it could be a team or it could be a season. If you had to line up the best defense in football, what team would it be?
Uh, Defensively, I would probably say either the '85 Bears because they were so good up front, or maybe the first Ravens championship team with Ray Lewis. Those guys, man, I mean, from front to back. They had it on the D line. They had it on the second level with the linebackers. You're talking about Ray. I think, if I'm not mistaken, one of the guys from here in South Carolina, Peter Bolware. Peter Bolware played at Spring Valley, and
Right.
they were good on the back end. So from top to bottom, those that kind of team they would choke you down. And athletes all over the field. And my thing is, I'm an offensive line coach by trade. You
Mm,
win the line. You look at most football games. Teams that win the line of scrimmage usually win the football game. You can't
wow.
win if you can't do something on the line of scrimmage. I don't care how good you are with those skill positions. You're gonna get beat. You're
Wow.
gonna get beat.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, IkonE, I see you in the back of the end zone. Let me see. Let me see if you can let me see if you can make me look good. I'll kick it to you.
All right, so Coach, I got. Well, first of all, I want to ask you. Go. I want to say congratulations on the Hall of Fame.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. That was a unexpected honor, but it was truly an honor.
Okay, so walk us through that. Was it a call? Was it an email? Was it somebody walking up on you? How did you get the news?
Uh, One of the and the thing about South Carolina here in South Carolina, we got maybe close to 300 schools that compete in high school in the South Carolina High School League, and I served on the board of the Football Coaches Association. Had been the president one year, and that was kind of exposed me to not just I'll just say the politics of football.
Mm,
If you've ever been, it's politics and everything, the politics of football, and that was a great experience. And one of my closest friends in coaching and just a close friend in general, he called me because he's on the executive committee. He said, "Your name gonna be nominated for the Hall of Fame. Send in your information. You send in a bio, that kind of stuff, your record, all that kind of stuff." And to be honest, Coach, I forgot about it. I didn't think any more about it. And call came probably in November saying that I've been elected to the Hall of Fame. And you go back, out of the years they've had the Hall of Fame here, there are less than 10 African American coaches in it. And I was fortunate to be one
wow.
of them.
Wow.
Okay, okay. Well, shout out real quick to Taylor Thomas. She's one of our other creators on the platform on the network, and it was a Coach Page. I'm not sure if that was Randy Page or whoever that was that chimed in for a second. But I was going to ask you this, Coach. So this is going to be kind of an intellectual question for you. 39 years of coaching, and when you coach, you got to be father, you got to be minister, you got to be a little bit of everything, counselor, and the players that you've had, you don't have to say names, but just kind of maybe tell us how you walked through it. A player that you had that was that walked on to the field, and you was like, "Oh, he not gonna make it." And and after those 4 years or 3 years you had him, or whatever time you had him, he ended up being one of the best players you ever had.
There's been a couple of those. Probably my first year, young coach, 29 years old, had just come from a what we call the Big 16 here in South Carolina. At the time, I was at Orangeburg Wilkeston High School down in Orangeburg, and it was one of the Big 16 schools. So I was used to big time football. And when I got to Wilson, I'm wanting to play smash mouth football, and we just weren't ready to play smash mouth football. But I looked around, I got about 3 or 4 little cats, probably about 5'7" to 5'9", about 160, 170, and had a quarterback who could throw it a little bit. So guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna throw that football. And a couple of those guys, Chauncey Robinson, Tarek Durant, Mario James, those guys, they look like little Smurfs. I'm standing in practice. I'm standing over all of them. I got to hold the sheet down because none of them were taller than about 5'8" or 5'9". But these cats were quick now. I mean, we get the ball out quick. And at the time, you're talking about 1993, 94, the stuff you see that people are doing now, we were throwing the ball in the 90s. And people weren't used to seeing that. And if nothing else, that first year, you gonna stay to the end because we're gonna score some points. Now it ended up being racehorse football for about that first year. But to see those guys continue to get better and buy into what you're teaching them on the field and off the field, that's probably, I knew I was on the right track. And the thing was, just had to be patient. I had to be patient. And I was blessed. I had a principal who believed in me. When I say believed in me, when he hired me, and I'll never forget, March 1993 was my first press conference. And after the press conference, he said, "Coach, let's walk down to my office." And we did, and sat down. And I remember him telling me this distinctly. He said, "Coach, it'll take you 3 years to clean this mess up." And this is from the principal now. It'll take you 3 years to clean this mess up. And I'll be dogged if the man wasn't prophetic. The first 3 years, we won a total of 9 games. And I mean, I was frustrated coming from a program that I was used to winning. And a couple of times, I'll never forget, during that 4th year, because he said 3 years to clean it up. During that 4th year, I walked in his office twice in 1 week to tell him that I was going to resign. And both times, and that shows you God's hand, both times he got called away from the meeting. So I never did get a chance to let it come out of my mouth. We went end up going 7-4 that year, and just turned the whole program around. And I knew right then, God, this is where you wanted me to be, because I was ready to throw in the towel. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Hopefully making an impact, but the thing was, you don't see it. What the public doesn't see the wins, and that's ultimately, you say what you want to if you're coaching. That's what people judge you on first: wins and losses.
Yeah. And I got one more question before I get back to Jacob. So this gonna be on the flip side, and
Okay.
this is gonna be more of a what maybe helped you as a coach when you may had to adjust what you were doing when you had that player that had all the talent in the world. We've seen it. Had all the talent, had all the gifts, but just for whatever reason couldn't get right, or just didn't put forth the effort, and you had to do something to either get him out, get him right, or whatever it was, or you moved on and you had to learn from it for the next bunch of kids. So give us one of those stories.
Uh, I had a kid, and like I said, I remain nameless. Like you said, he had all the talent in the world. You could see that this kid was special. But like you said, he couldn't get right. Either it was something all the time. And it wasn't his home situation. He had solid parents there. Like, you want to do everything but what I'm asking you to do. So we started practice one day. He was there. And before we actually started practice, we meet up before we start and give him the word of the day, the schedule of the day, or whatever. But I had him stand up. Told him, say, we go on in and turn your stuff in. The other kid looking at him kind of shocked. He was kind of shocked, but he went in and took stuff off. I told him, I said, you come back next year. And this was during the season. And it had to be probably about 2 days later. His mom called. She wasn't mad. She said, "Coach, he just wants another chance." And so when he came back, probably I think it was a Wednesday or Thursday. Instead of me making the decision, I had to I had him stand up in front of his teammates.
Mm.
And now you explain to them why you're not doing what everybody else is doing. And to see, and teammates, one thing about teammates, they're gonna be brutally honest. When it's just us, all right, we not no hidden agendas here. Say what you're gonna say. And they asked him some tough questions. The young man ended up they vote, and we had a vote. There was no hidden vote, no putting on no piece of paper. If you want him back, you raise your hand.
Yeah.
And he saw where he stood, and he ended up being a 3-year starter for us.
Wow.
And went on to college, and right now is a very successful professional.
Okay, okay.
So
Go
it's
ahead,
something
Jay.
that tough love.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, Coach. I'm a big fan of high school sports, and I get the high school newsletters and stuff like that. So, but what I noticed is when we was growing up, and even before, a couple years before the NIL deals, Division 1, Division 2 schools, they was giving out anywhere between 8 to 12 scholarships a year to athletes coming out of high school, and now
Mhm.
they only give out about 3 to 6 because they got the transfer portal and stuff like that. And so, how do you think this transfer portal has hurt the the superstar high school athlete?
The portal changed the game. It has changed the game as far as recruiting and everything else. If you look at it right here recently, the NCAA and I think society in general realized that when they started doing it in college, they had no control over it. The Wild Wild West. Perfect example, kid that was played at South Carolina State this past year. He just went to Stanford, got a major financial bump, for he and his family. Um, Now you could go, and it's almost like sometimes they're using the HBCUs to build up these other programs. Every year you see kids leaving HBCUs going to bigger programs, and that's the same thing that's going on in high school. Um,
Right,
if a major school like a Clemson or Carolina, UNC, East Carolina, I'm just thinking in the Carolinas, Georgia Tech, if they're not recruiting you by the time you're in the ninth or 10th grade, more than likely, they're not going to recruit you. And the reason why, you think about it, Kirby Smart's making what, maybe 10 million a year. Uh, Kirby Smart's gonna not risk that $10 million a year on a maybe. If you've done it on the college level before and you got some film and they're impressed with it, all right, we're gonna throw you some money. I need you to win now. I need you to win now. I can't. A lot of times they're not. It's not so much about player development. Some programs will recruit some high school kids, but they're the elite high school kids. Okay, they're not developing kids like they used to, and because it's a win at all costs. And you want
right.
somebody who's done it before. And I tell any parent that's got a kid in high school, oh, he should be D1. He should do this. He should do that. Take that scholarship. Take that scholarship. Get in that whatever situation is and get that film. When I say get that film, now you've shown the guys who are going to recruit you in another year that you've done it on the college level. You got used to getting up early in the morning. You got used to the weights. You got used to the travel. You got used to the being away from home. The same kid that I'm recruiting at 17 out of high school. I mess around. I get him at 19, and he's been away from home for a year and a half, and understands how this thing works. I'm getting a different athlete. I'm getting a kid that might be ready to go and help us right now. So that's definitely a game changer, and it's affected high school kids. But by the same token, if I'm a Division 2, NAIA, 1AA, I'm gonna take that kid recruiting, knowing that he's going to help me now, and I'm gonna get another one just like him. That's that I would change my recruiting
Right.
focus big time.
Okay. Now it's funny you say that. So So I'm a Pistons Tigers fan, and so I tell people all the time, a lot of those kids that you see dabble, those kids have been coming to the Clemson Youth Invitational Camp since they was in the seventh grade.
Yeah,
So the Dabo and some of the coaches have been a personal relationship with them since they were 12 years old. Now they're
yeah,
18 years old. And so, once they see them excel in high school and follow what they're doing through the huddle or the max preps and things like that, now they know that this kid has been well groomed. This kid has stayed in contact with either me or my coaches, and these kids and this kids even have a personal trainer that was some athletes already, and as a personal trainer, they come and train with them for a month or like 2 3 weeks out the summer, and so this is a no brainer to give this kid a scholarship. And I tell people all the time, Georgia, Ohio State, Notre Dame, they have major camps for these kids to come to, and these
yeah.
major camps are sponsored by like Adidas, Nike, New Balance, Reebok. So these camps are so exclusive now to the college camps are just like a pro mini camp. And so when you in high school and you getting that experience from this type of camp, that's either going to two things. It's going to elevate your game to the next level, or it's going to get you mentally right so you can elevate. You know what I mean? To
That's
to
true.
a to a whole nother mental place. And so
Yeah,
I think it's good. I think it's good now, coach. With you seeing everything that has happened within college sports, and this is something that me and Icon talk about all the time. Um, we talk about this playoff situation and why a team like a Cincinnati a couple years ago shouldn't get into this situation with it like a Alabama or Ohio State or school like that. So what do you think they can make the time?
you're breaking up a little bit. I can't hear you. Is it just me
Yeah,
that
Okay,
Coach Goins?
yeah,
Is it
yeah,
just
that
me
last
kind of
part.
breaking up?
I didn't
Yes,
hear
sir.
that last. I didn't hear that last part.
Yeah, he was
I
breaking up
think he
I
was
on
said,
you.
asking what do
I
you
said,
think about. Go ahead.
what do you think about? What do you think they can do to make the college playoff better?
Well, it's about money.
Mm,
They're expanding it now. I think it's going to 12 teams. 12, if it's not 12 now.
Mhm.
They're talking about expanding it even more because ESPN gets those games on TV, ABC gets those games on TV. You're selling advertising because you got the nation kind of locked in on it. And as long as the TV money is going into these schools now, it's going to be like that.
Mhm.
Do You have to look at some of the conferences? You're looking at what Big Ten might have Oregon, might have I think they had Oregon, Ohio State, Indiana. I think they had maybe three of the three teams at least in it. You're talking about Georgia. SEC had Georgia, Tennessee, and another team that I think people are going to really be shocked at seeing. I think that they'll be really surprised this year is Florida. Florida has been kind of loading that thing up for a minute, and they got serious. They got serious money now. They got
mm,
serious money. But you think about every team that was in the college football playoffs, they spend money.
yes.
It costs to win,
Mm,
especially at that level. It costs to win. And even on the high school level, you think about the better high schools you've seen in South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Georgia, Florida. These people are committed to these programs. You're talking about facilities, $5, $10 million, $20 million high school facilities, weight rooms, full indoor practice facilities. Football is an investment. It's an
Mhm.
investment,
mm,
and As long as, ESPN even televises high school games the first weekend, I think the first weekend that they can play. They're televising games all over the country. And it's about money, man. And as long as they can keep the playoffs expanded, they will. They will. Do you take a Pac-12 team that just started to put their thing back together again? No, you don't take a Pac-12 team. I'm going to take a 2-loss SEC team because the top to bottom, the SEC might be the closest thing to the NFL out there, just from top to bottom, because their bigs are bigger than their bigs are better than anybody else. Right here in South Carolina, Lenore Sellers, who is at University of South Carolina, he played here in Florence. Gamecocks are considered dark horse candidates this year because of him. And the thing is, if they come out 8-2, 8-3 out of SEC, compared to a team that's coming out of maybe the Big 12 that might be 9-2 or whatever, all right, you're gonna look at strength of schedule. Who did they play?
Mm-hmm.
Who did they play?
Right.
And now, these conferences are aligning. You look at basketball, you might have an ACC Big Ten challenge. I think football is going to go to that eventually. You can't play everybody anymore. You know what I'm saying? You can't play just, all right, we're going to play a couple of local teams, give them a chance to make $250,000, $300,000. Like South Carolina State here this year plays USC. USC can't have no more than one South Carolina State on their schedule now.
Right.
Because it's going to hurt them in strength of schedule. And that's pretty much what it's going to come down to.
Okay. All right, Coach Goins.
Man, I tell you what, you know what, and it's an honor to sit here and just listen to Coach Page just lay it out for us, and it just rings in. So, Coach, here's where I want to go. Is
Mhm.
and I'm gonna set this up and take us through that. So you have the honor and privilege of stepping in behind the podium, and your audience is first year high school coaches. Give us your first few moments at that conversation, and what is in that conversation for all the upcoming and those coaches that are just getting into that profession.
That's one of the first things I would tell them. And because it's funny, the school I'm at now, Wilson High School, we just hired a young football coach. This is his first head coaching job. First thing you do is you treat that young man just like you want somebody to treat your son. That's the
Mm,
first thing. Just like you want to treat your son. And nobody knows your son like you. Get to know them. Get to know their background. Every kid that you get in that comes in your program is not a 2-parent kid. He might be a single parent. Mom got 2 other kids. She out there working, holding down 2 jobs. He's got to be the man of the house. Yeah? You're going to run into those kids like that. You're going to run into kids that the grandparents are raising them. Yeah?
mm,
You're going to run into kids that the streets are trying to raise them. And so you got to take all that into consideration. Find out what you're working with and who you're working with before you start opening your mouth. Huh?
wow.
And once you start doing that, things are gonna get better. Because once a kid, any young person, anybody, period, if I find out that you care about me and what's going on with me, I'm gonna do everything I can to please you. That's just like a man. If a woman shows any interest in a man and he like her, he gonna do whatever he got to do to keep that woman.
Hey,
Believe
that's
that
right.
now. Believe that. And that's the same thing with kids. You care about what goes on off the field.
Mm,
Is he eating every day? Because I had kids come to practice and coach, I hadn't eaten anything. You know? And in this day and age, you're thinking, man, there's no way. But it is a way. If you've ever been in high school now, the lunches we used to get back in the day, and I remember every Thursday at Wilson High School, we used to have fried chicken. I mean, the kids that would bring their lunch would eat on Thursday. And it's a predominantly black high school, we had hot sauce on the table. Okay?
mm,
And so now, what these kids eat for lunch or what they're serving for lunch, that's not a traditional lunch. It's not a traditional lunch. And
Right.
so I'm not going to make sure they're fed every day. Make sure they're fed some kind of way. Connect with your people in your city. There are a lot of people that are willing to help. Even restaurants. You think about if you really think about how much food restaurants throw away.
mm.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure they're fed. If he needs a jacket, you do everything you can to find him a jacket. Um, I I can just think over the years I've taught. I got to be at least 1,000 guys how to tie a tie. Some of them had no idea how to tie a necktie. And that's something we grew up with. Somebody, either a grandfather, a father, an uncle, somebody taught us that.
Yep.
Huh?
Right.
And now these kids look at you like, they come to you, they coach, I need you to tie this tie. And I said, no, I'm going to teach you how to tie this tie so you don't have to worry about asking me no more.
That's right.
And, you look at something like that, and you don't think it's important, but it is important.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And
Yeah.
stay on them about them grades. Everybody's not going to go to college. Everybody's not college material. College is not
Sure.
for everybody. It's not for everybody. But you stay on them behind them grades. That could lead to, it's a difference between going to the Army and the Air Force. I've never been in the military, but I think the Air Force is a little bit different than the Army or the
That's correct.
Marine. I can believe that. And those grades are going to help you. That shows you got discipline. You can follow directions, that kind of thing. But even the way they teach school now is different because everything's done on a laptop. Kids not carry a laptop. They don't books. Their book is online. So you have to stay with them behind them grades, and just once you show that you care about them, the other things will fall into place. You got to have good help around you. Don't hire nobody just because they're your homeboy.
Mm. Mm.
Homeboy might not be good for your program. Huh? And what goes on here stays here. But with social media, even with social media, you don't put everything out there.
Wow.
But you have to have a social media presence in these days and time. You have to.
Right.
That's what people oh man, they got a great program. That's what I'm showing you. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
You might have to go to him at night. He might call you one night and say, "Hey, coach, I need this, I need that." You got to go to him because you want somebody to do the same thing to your kid.
Mm.
But it's important that you establish those relationships, and be firm with what if you say you're gonna do it, you do it, even if you have to stand alone. Especially if you know you are right. I'd rather
That's
stand alone and be right. Now, be mad at me, you'll get over it.
Amen.
Especially when we start winning. Get mad with me. You'll
Quick.
be all
That's
right.
right.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
Uh,
Mhm.
Excellent. Excellent. IkonE, what you got, babe?
Well, one thing Coach is right is about. I was in the Air Force, so definitely Air Force is an army. It's kind of. I don't think I can explain it. It's like Air Force is like Bel Air, and the Army is like Compton. So it's the whole way you live, the way you get treated. So that's all I can explain it like that. But this is kind of a question for the panel, but I'm gonna let Coach Page go first on this one. Me and Jacob was talking about. I don't know if you've been keeping up with this story, Coach, but we was talking about this Ace Bailey situation, and I've been talking about the last couple of days. This young man got drafted into the NBA. He decided that he wasn't gonna try out for any of the teams, and he wasn't gonna work out for any of the teams, and he ended up getting drafted by the Utah Jazz. And it kind of his plan kind of backfired because I'm in Utah and I've been out here several times, and trust me, you don't want to be out here. But on the sake of basketball or being in a sport, what would be your advice? And my advice would be basically go ball out for 3 years and opt out, and then go get you a new contract somewhere else. So if you was counseling this young man or coaching this young man, what would have been your advice in this situation?
Well, right now, I think he was drafted what, second or third? He's second
He
or
was
third pick, wasn't
fifth. He ended up being drafted fifth.
he? Okay, he drafted fifth. He's gonna be guaranteed X amount of dollars. You gonna do your craft in Utah. But your plan is to get out of Utah if that's what you really want. So you close your mouth, go in and you do your job. Help the team become a better player. And then, like you said, after 3 years, 4 years, whatever, they're gonna offer you a max. I think I don't know if the NBA is like the NFL where they can franchise them, or you right of first refusal, however they do that thing. But eventually, you are going to become a free agent, and that's what you do. The NBA, I think is what is 30, 32 teams, 12
Yes.
guys on each team. Man, that's a privileged job. Everybody, and you think about how many kids play basketball. I don't
Mm.
care where you are, Utah, Alaska, Canada, wherever, they playing basketball because it's easy to play. It's not expensive to go out in the yard and play. We used to nail a tire rim old bicycle rim. Shoot at that. Find a ball to shoot at. And but
Yes,
now it's
sir.
become now they got you travel this and travel that. So kids are exposed to basketball at a very young age. And the thing is, you Cooper Flag was the only thing that was guaranteed in that draft. You knew Dallas was going to take Cooper Flag. Everybody else had to figure out where they were going to fall. But I don't, if I'm not mistaken, Flag might have worked out for some teams. Most of those top 10 guys, they go out and work out that kind of thing. But does Ace really feel like he's like that? You know, I've seen him play. I've seen him play. He's a good player. But that's the NBA. I looked at the NBA, man. You look at, we just finished watching Indiana and Oklahoma City. Man, even them 8, 9, 10 jokers, they can play. They coming in there. It's a different level of ball, man. You playing grown men now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And what is he? Straight out of high? What is he, about 19?
About
Yeah,
19
he
now.
played
Yeah.
one year at Rutgers.
Played 1 year at Rutgers.
Yeah, and whatever. Dylan Harper was his teammate. That's Ron Harper's son. He went second, right
Yeah.
above. And the thing about it, like I was telling Jacob, the guy that went third to Philly, that Ace thought he was going to, VJ Escom, or however you pronounce his name.
Yeah.
He was bawling and crying, and this for my mama. And so you seen players that was humble and was happy, and they didn't care where they went. And this young man made it very difficult for NBA coaches and GMs to draft him because of the way his arrogance was. And the thing about it was, me and Jacob talk about all the time, billionaires do not like being showed up. So trust me, they'll make him pay for his troubles before he'll make them pay.
That's true, and I think that might be handled right in the locker room.
Mm.
Yes.
That locker room justice is different now. When we got these doors closed, whether I don't care what sport it is, it's just us here now. And you got a guy who's been in there 8 years, 10 years grinding. Your son, you hadn't even traveled around the league yet. He got to be educated. Got to be educated. Sometimes teaching a lesson can be tough. And first time you run down that lane against a couple of them cats, man. All right, now this ain't high school, young fella.
Well,
It's a big bodies down there that paint.
oh yeah. Well, Coach, we definitely appreciate you coming on here tonight and giving us your time, or whatever. And we don't get too many opportunities to be in the presence of Hall of Famers.
That's right.
So
Yeah, for sure.
that's a big deal right there, just for you to be able to get that, because you don't see a lot of coaches being honored in that way. You put 39 years in and win some championships and all that kind of stuff. Let us know, let everybody know the greatness of who you are and the impact you've had on these kids. And I think that's the most important, is the impact that you have on kids' lives, of helping making sure they graduate. And I'm pretty sure a lot of your kids come back to you to have relationships with them as grown men and seeing their kids grow and, going to the weddings and stuff like that, and all those type of deals. So I definitely appreciate you coming on and giving us the time. So if you got any shout outs, anything that you want to plug, or, I don't know how much you on social media that you want to say, then, go ahead and let us know now.
Just to all the young people that have had the opportunity to coach, the opportunity to work with, and you mentioned something there, Icon, that I really thought about. On this last year, I served as interim coach at Wilson High School while they searched for a full-time coach, and it was a unique thing because on my staff, I had 4 guys that played for me.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah, four coaches. They were my assistant coaches that played when I was their high school head coach.
Oh, wow.
And that kind of, when you kind of look back on it, that's full circle, man. And I like to thank each and every young person that I've had the opportunity to work with. Thank my wife, because it takes a special woman to be a coach's wife, because you're being daddy, mama, everything else. She's sharing her husband with everybody else. It takes a special woman to be by her side. I like to thank my wife, my children, and just the people I've had the opportunity to work with. Meeting you guys today, seeing this first time I've heard this platform. It won't be the last. I'll definitely check it out. And that y'all doing some great things, and just being able to utilize this. Somebody somewhere is looking at it. And y'all continue to do what you're doing because you're making a difference, whether you realize it or not.
Appreciate it. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Well,
Yes, sir.
Coach, God bless you. You know, success on your upcoming year and whatever, you know, you got down the pipeline for yourself and your family. And I definitely appreciate you. You have a great, wonderful weekend, and the rest of y'all do too, fellas.
All right.
Y'all
Have
too,
a good
man.
night.
Y'all be
Thanks so
blessed,
much,
man.
Coach.
Peace. All
Congratulations.
right. Have a good
All
one
right.
now.
All right.
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
Blessings.
All right.